let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
I'm John.
And I'm Kevin.
And this is 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger, the podcast where we take a long, hard look at some of our favorite action movies from the era of Arnold.
Schwarzenegger is the icon of the genre, and we're taking a deep dive into some of these 80s and 90s cult action movies and breaking them all the way down.
We're going to get into the nitty and the gritty and examine the good, the bad, the ugly, and the laughable in these movies.
But we're always coming from a place of love. You don't watch these movies as much as we have unless you have a genuine affection for them. Hey, John, what are you sipping on?
I'm sorry, you caught me in the middle of something. Right in the middle of a delicious sip of Russell's Reserve.
Yeah, it's a little 10-year age statement bourbon. It's either made by Wild Turkey or Jim Beam. I can't remember which one.
I can't remember either. But it's delicious.
It's one of their top shelf. It actually is really good. I'd never had it before.
It's helping settle my nerves post-fall.
John had a slip and fall accident.
John busted ass walking out his front stairs on the way over here.
It happens to the best of us.
Pause and collect myself. I was like shaking. I was like glad no neighbors were out to point and laugh because it was some Home Alone level tomfoolery, I felt like.
Oh, man. Like head over heels?
Oh, yeah. It was like feet flew like right out in front of me. I had no idea what was going on. Anyway, how are you doing?
I'm a slightly nasal. I'm a little
you
under
sound
the
beautiful.
weather.
You
but
sound
yeah,
beautiful.
It's give me a little gravelly
oh, it's sexy.
rasp.
Oh, yeah.
We're here to talk about a true cult action movie, I think. It's more in more ways than one.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Cobra. 1986 Sylvester Stallone vehicle, to be certain. But I grew up watching this a lot. I
did not.
It was on one of the cable channels on a regular basis.
This was one of those that was not in regular rotation, nor did we have it on a bootleg VHS.
It certainly didn't need to be, but it's like it's the companion piece to Over the Top, I feel like. It's the other Stallone canon.
Yeah.
Just coke fueled.
Like, what the hell is this movie?
How did this movie happen? Who
okayed this? Well, we know that Golden Globe is dead.
Yeah.
Our good friend Menachem Golan dead.
Right. And we'll mention the producers. It's our boys, Menachem Golan and Yoram Globus.
Yes.
Those guys. And
so you know this is good.
Their crazy way of movie making, which is lots of product placement. Let Stallone do whatever Stallone wants to do.
Like literally you know that they were just going to get whatever you feel like doing, man. We just got to get some Pepsi and beer in there.
They had like a 2-picture deal with him. It was this one and Over the Top. And I feel like this is what happens when you give Stallone, I should say, post-steroids and cocaine-driven Stallone, like full creative control over a movie. This is what you get.
He's like, I want no pushback from anyone.
This is my picture. I feel like that's what's going on with the director, this guy George P. Cosmatos.
Cosmatos.
Who directed Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Right, and Tombstone.
Although my understanding on Tombstone is that he got like thrown off the movie really early, and that 90% of the movie was directed by Kurt Russell.
That's badass.
Which is great.
Yeah,
yes.
That's awesome. That's probably why it turned out so good, because you kind of get the feeling that this Cosmatos guy or Cosmatos, like that he was something of a pushover, one would think, dealing with Stallone.
But yeah, written by one Sylvester Stallone.
And boy, does it show.
You may have heard of him. I loved it. Apparently, the entire movie was born just because Stallone wanted to play a character named Cobra.
You know what, though? Like, I sort of admire that, because I was talking to you just a moment ago. I got this buddy, Matt. And Matt, if you're listening, hello, my friend, that like he was talking about it today. He was just like, you know what, I've wanted to do, and I got tired of not doing, so I did. And he like wrote a screenplay. And so I kind of get that. Like, but I admired Stallone just being like, I've got one idea, and I'm this is the germ that I'm going to ride.
He's going to be the coolest, toughest motherfucker that's ever lived, and his name's Cobra.
This is the person that I wish that I could be. And that's probably true.
It made me think of the Rick James Chappelle. I think cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
cocaine is a hell of a drug.
But it was also based on the book Fair Game.
It can't have been.
By Paula Gosling.
Mm-hmm.
The 1995 Cindy Crawford and Billy Baldwin movie Fair Game is also based on the same book, apparently.
You would never notice.
I know the two movies bore little resemblance to each other that it's a cop protecting
and there's
a woman.
Model. And I guess she's a model.
And a hot woman, I suppose. Yeah. I have no idea what the particulars of the book are, but I also read some shit where at the time that the movie was coming out, Stallone was like pushing hard for there to be another edition of the book printed, a republishing of the book with himself credited as a co-author.
What the fuck? And
like,
Paula, I hope Paula was
no,
like,
she
no
said,
thanks.
hell no.
No, thank you.
Even though I guess it would have been probably a payday for her.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have been a novelization of the movie or if he just wanted a reprinting of the same book with his name on the cover to
not
coincide with the release.
Just a reprinting saying now a major motion picture, which they do all the time.
Yeah, but he wanted his name on the shit.
Starring Sylvester
But he wanted
Stallone.
an author credit.
That's
on
so
the book.
stupid. That's some John F. Kennedy shit where he was like, I want a Pulitzer or people aren't going to think that I'm impressive. And so he basically got someone else to write a book for him.
It's better than making fake Time Man of the Year covers with yourself on it, like some other recent presidents.
What?
But yeah, that is some narcissistic and drug-fueled crazy ideas.
You've just described 1980s Sylvester Stallone to a T.
Yes, this starring Stallone also. This is his most coked out like diva era Stallone. The back half of the 80s was like insane shit. Between this and Over the Top and Tango and Cash.
Like a truck.
Fucking
Tango
Rocky
and Cash
4 was wild.
I have blocked Tango and Cash out since we talked about it.
That was like the culmination of it all.
Well, we need to drag out Stop or My Mom Will Shoot too, because that
never
movie
saw that.
Sucks.
I never saw that, and I never saw Oscar.
I don't remember Oscar at all.
Gangster comedy.
Yeah, I remember it being a comedy, but I don't remember seeing
it. It was like a period piece mob movie comedy.
Yeah.
Crazy shit.
Yeah, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot was terrible, and like poor Estelle Getty was at the right end of herself, like with dementia and everything. You
may like or dislike Rocky 4. I mean, it's empirically not a good movie, but it is good. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
But between like Rocky 4 and Cliffhanger, I was looking at Stallone's biography, and he didn't make a good movie for like an 8-year span. It was all just this type of dog shit.
And it didn't matter.
No, they were still making money, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
still
Rocky 5 was bad. I mean, it was just a lot of bad shit happening.
Oh, I just want to add the DP, Rick Waite, in this movie.
Yeah.
48 Hours, Red Dawn, Adventures in Babysitting, which is a personal 80s favorite of mine.
That's awesome.
Footloose, Brewster's Millions, Rambo 3. So, okay. I mean, this guy fucked pretty hard.
That's interesting. I've got a bit of trivia that I'll save for later on, but where just the Stallone and the dude were like beefing on set.
Oh, I'm sure, because this dude knows what he's doing.
And I think he wouldn't put up with Stallone's like diva shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like the way you're lighting me. Like he pull that shit on Tango and Cash. I don't like the way you're lighting me. You're gone, Barry Sonnenfeld.
You Oscar winner.
You hack.
Yeah, fuck you. Who else is in this movie?
Mrs. Stallone.
That's right.
Brigitte Nielsen.
Who must have just also been coked out of her mind.
Oh, dude, those two.
You ruined her, right?
I feel like he led to her downfall. I like to imagine that she was like an innocent flower plucked from, a meadow somewhere in Denmark by Dino De Laurentiis for Red Sonja.
She had natural chops, as we've talked about before. Like, there was something there. There was a talent there that then was laid waste by Stallone.
I imagine Stallone saw her, like maybe on Red Sonja, and was like, I must have her.
He probably
called her for Rocky 4.
Probably called her that. I want that.
So he put her in Rocky 4, and I think they were like married by the end of 1985, and then they did this shit.
Right.
But yeah. Also stars Brian Thompson as the killer.
One of the weirdest, like, most distinct looking human beings I've ever seen in my it's sort of a Schwarzenegger Cro-Magnon thing.
He's
going
so
on.
intense looking.
Yeah.
Right? The dude was in Lionheart as well, the Van Damme flick. He was in Terminator. He was one of Bill Paxton and his little trio of punks at the beginning. One of them was Brian Thompson, and he had a recurring part on X-Files.
Nice.
And he works quite a bit still.
Good for Brian Thompson. We salute you, sir. You made it out of this unscathed.
And then we have the beautifully named Rennie Santoni.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. He was in Dirty Harry, and he played Poppy in Seinfeld.
Oh, nice.
I realized, I'm like, this dude's got range, and he still works as well.
That's awesome.
Good for Rennie.
Yeah, one of the more memorable roles in this movie. It sort of seems like it could actually be a real live human being.
But yeah, this was a weird time where Stallone was cranking out these super short action movies.
Mm-hmm.
This one's 87 minutes, including all of our credit sequences and montages and everything.
Of which there are plenty. And music videos.
Yeah, there's a music video in the middle. I mean, I feel like this movie could be probably 75 minutes long if you just cut it down to the actual story.
It could have been an HBO episode of something.
Yeah, crazy shit. But short actor, short movies.
Is that the saying? I don't know.
But yeah, like between Rocky 3 and Rambo 3, that era of Stallone, like 83 to 89, all his movies were clocking in at like 90 minutes long.
It's because he was so coked up.
That's why I think when everyone on the set is just like coked out of their mind, it probably like makes sense. Like, let's just keep this shit as short as possible.
They should bring cocaine back, I think, maybe.
Movies are getting out of hand.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the movie. I'm excited to talk about it.
I'm excited too.
Because this movie is a target-rich film.
It is ripe for the treatment, as we like to say. So it starts with the Warner Brothers logo. Then we get the Canon Group production, a Golden Globus.
That's like quality.
Mark of quality.
You're like quality, and then maybe not so
Yeah,
much.
it's like it's gonna be. In hindsight, you know it's gonna be dog shit, but you still love it. It's like. Yeah, it's like your drunk uncle has come to visit. You're like, what's he going to bring me? So we get an extreme close-up of the image of a Cobra on the grip of a pistol.
Which was already cocked. Like the gun is like he was pulled out of his waist.
Out of his skinny jeans.
With the fucking hammer back already.
I sort of wear skinny jeans, but these were like ludicrous. They were painted on.
This was at that point where he needed people to know how skinny he was and everything like that.
So we get the most affected voiceover maybe ever from Stallone / Cobra. In America, there's a burglary I can't even tell like what the fuck the voice that he's trying to do is like. There's a burglary every 11 seconds, an armed robbery. He sounds like he's trying to do like his take on a gangster voice or something. Anyways, there's an armed robbery every 65 seconds, a violent crime every 25 seconds, a murder every 24 minutes. And he ends with the biggie, and 250 rapes a day.
He like savored the rapes delivery.
While he's talking, the gun is slowly turning and fires on the rapes line, sending a bullet hurtling at the viewer and revealing the movie's title card. We transition to a montage of a motorcyclist silhouetted against a red sky, and this is intercut with a man with 2 double-headed axes wading through some water.
The shit with the red sky, though, was cool as hell.
Yeah.
Like, that was an amazing shot.
I really liked that. The man with the axes has a distinct tattoo of a skull and 2 axes crossed on his wrist.
Just clearly going to be important, I guess, because
they
show it a lot.
Yeah. He clanks his axes together in like a rhythm, like clang, clang. And we see that he's in a very stylishly lit warehouse filled with people with axes all doing the same thing.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, so
these are the bad guys.
Immediately it's like, okay, so more than one bad guy is what you're telling me.
Whose job was it to hang all like the shredded bed sheets from the ceiling?
Yeah, who's the leader of the club that's made for you and me? No, that was like we need some decorations in here.
It was also like, will someone go take this spotlight and set it up behind that giant industrial fan? It was all smoky in there.
Yeah,
the water, like standing water on the floor. It was just an odd.
Yeah, it's a very strange
setup.
place. The people all seem to be dressed in a variety of different styles of clothing, from leather daddies to business guys.
Wasn't that shit weird?
Yeah, it was very strange. So it's like, it doesn't matter who you are. We accept people from all walks of life into our death cult.
But it seemed like some of those dudes were like on their lunch break from H&R Block.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck was going on.
So
I'll be back.
Yeah, it's like, I'll be right back, you guys.
Sir, wait, Bob, why are you taking the axe? Why are you taking the fire axe from the wall?
Don't look at me. That was him.
Some of the dudes like had hatchets and weird, just like
yeah.
It wasn't even
all
like,
manner. No, it's not uniform. It's like any hatchet will do. Any axe will do. So the skull and cross axes are graffitied on the walls in the building. So this is like a fun little murder cult. And then I immediately thought of, any luck catching them killers then? It was the first of many times that occurred to me. So it's just the one killer, actually. So we see the motorcyclist, has the same tattoo that we're seeing everywhere else, and already what could have been a great element of storytelling is given away right off the bat.
There's a lot of hyper stylized, like the walleye vision.
Yeah.
Also in this, that was just like, it's like we just walked onto a Beastie Boys video.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Stallone was like,
wild.
whatever you want to do.
Do it.
Just make sure the V is deep and that I'm well lit. So we cut to a supermarket decorated for Christmas.
It's a Christmas movie, John.
Yeah. Hey, it is. That's right. This is a Christmas. We should have saved this for December. So the biker from our montage, I guess, that's what we're supposed to intuit, pulls up and parks in a handicapped space and scares some birds.
Just in case we didn't know he was a bad guy.
First
right?
of many times in this opening scene that just is like we just get scenes of like shots of birds flying away.
It was probably inspired John Woo.
Yeah, it's like, but just over and over again.
Yes. No.
And probably the editor was like, we need more time. This movie's 30 minutes long.
Imagine being like the second unit director or whatever. I need you to go shoot me some footage of birds flying off like power lines or whatever.
Okay. All right, sounds pretty good.
I'll be back.
So our motorcyclist is wearing all black.
Wait, what was up with like the domestic dispute? There was like a domestic dispute going on in the parking lot?
Yeah, I have no idea. Like, I don't know like why that's happening. I guess just because the holidays are hard for a lot of people. Like,
I wasn't sure if that's supposed to mean something.
I don't
society
know.
is in decline.
I think that's what it's probably supposed to mean, is that people park in handicapped parking spaces when they're not handicapped, and there's a domestic
guys are just strong arming their girl in the parking lot.
It's like, what the fuck is happening? It felt like it was supposed to be like Detroit in RoboCop or something like that.
Yeah.
So the guy's wearing all black. He's sort of just zombie-like walking into the supermarket with I won't even call it purpose, just weirdly, slowly dead, like a dead person moving in.
That dude was Marco Rodriguez.
What do I recognize him from?
He works a lot.
He's still like, he has a very recognizable face.
He was he has like 5 credits every year. He's one of those dudes. But he was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He was like the bartender who was serving Leo and Timothy Olyphant, like on the TV show, the Mexican bartender, whatever. He was also the manager of Kenny Powers' baseball team in Mexico and Eastbound and Down.
That's awesome.
But yeah, he works a ton, and he gives like a really good performance, I thought.
Yeah, for what he is supposed to be in this movie, which is insane. So yeah, inside in the grocery store, he bumps into a guy, pushes a woman in her cart out of the way. He's just
there was like a little kid in the cart,
single-mindedly, just elbowing people out of the way and being generally menacing.
Yeah,
which then prompts a store employee to confront him. The guy seems to take no notice of the employee, who's like, "Excuse me." He takes off the motorcycle guy takes off his aviators, whips open his pea coat, and produces a shotgun and just starts blasting up the vegetable aisle.
He was brutalizing the melons, like the fucking cantaloupes, the honeydews.
So this made me start thinking. Oh, and I'll talk more about it. But it's like, so customers are scrambling for cover as the guy continues to shoot up the store. And while this is happening, we get brief flashes of the skull and crossbones insignia and axe blades. So we get he's part of this cult. He was in a
trance or something.
He doesn't really seem at this point to be aiming at people, just causing destruction.
He shot that one shopping cart that inexplicably just jumped up in the air.
A woman scoots out from behind her cart where she'd been hiding, and he fires at the cart when he could have clearly killed the woman. Yeah. So it makes me start to think like this cult is like brainwashed people, sort of like any kind of terrorist group does with their and maybe he's like working up the nerve to finally be able to shoot a person, like he hasn't gotten to that point yet.
I don't know. Yeah,
because he could have killed several people, but he hasn't.
It could be that he didn't want to kill the people until he had an audience,
until he had the TV cameras,
TV and the police and all that shit.
So this is, again, we keep getting these random shots of birds during all this, birds flying away.
He also fired off like at least 8 consecutive shots, which I don't think is possible with a shotgun.
No, there would have needed. Well, I'm not sure. Do are there some shotguns that have like expanded mag? Like you
I
have
think
a
so,
mag?
but this
That
one
shotgun
didn't though.
That
This was
shotgun
like
did
one
not.
that would hold 3 to 5 max.
That he would need to, reload quickly. So anyway, we cut to the outside of the store. Police have converged on the scene. There's helicopters, SWAT, ambulances. Then a button-down suit. That's Detective Monte, Andrew Robinson, who looks familiar. I didn't bother looking him up, but he has a very familiar face as well.
He was the evil, like the serial killer Scorpio in Dirty Harry. He was like, but he was a much younger man.
Okay, yeah.
In that. He was also in Hellraiser. But yeah, he's just one of those dudes. I think he works a lot.
Yeah.
And he's in a lot of shit, a lot of TV shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, so this Detective Monte gets on a bullhorn and says that they want to talk to the guy, there's no need for violence, and that there's no way out of the situation except by talking to the police. Back inside, the shooter singles out one man, puts the barrel of the shotgun under the guy's chin and tells him, you can leave. And the guy's like, okay, starts to like make his way down the fucking international foods aisle or cereal or whatever it is. And the shooter racks the shotgun.
That was ominous.
Yeah, back outside. He's like, fuck. Back outside, another cop, Captain Sears. This is Art LaFleur, who is in tons of shit.
He was Babe Ruth in
Sandlot. Yes.
Legends get remembered.
That's right.
But heroes never die.
Yeah.
He was also a ball player in Field of Dreams.
That's right.
Yeah. But he's another one of those dudes.
He winked at me.
He's in a million things. Yeah.
So he tells Monty that this negotiating's pointless and to call, quote, the Cobra, which seems to really like Monty's very like reserved about. He's like unwilling to do this, but he does it. So back inside, the shooter aims his shotgun at the customer who he just told could leave. The guy tries to make a run for it, and then we get some weird ass like JFK shooting physics. The guy's like rounding the corner of the aisle, like right towards the end cap, and the shooter, like he lets the guy get a lot of distance before he blows him away.
Yeah.
But as the guy's rounding a corner, he shoots him.
He's making it like a right-hand turn.
Yeah, making a right-hand turn, and then he shoots him again, and he flies off to the left.
Right into the Christmas tree.
You're right into the aisle, the end cap Christmas tree, which I'm like, what?
They're fucking up the holiday decor.
But also the physics are not a thing.
No sense,
doesn't make it. Yeah, it's just like Stallone pros like it'd be a great idea if you flew into the Christmas tree.
We could have him turn left. No. We already shot him turning right.
No, wait, what? So we cut to an old hot rod. This is a gorgeous 1950 Mercury Monterey. Come doing a power slide, a Mario Kart style into the parking lot.
That car was apparently Stallone's personal vehicle, and then they made up some like replicas for the chases and the stunts and all that later.
Vanity plate reads Awesome 50, which because I guess it's a 1950, but also read that car is one of a billion cars of that design called a lead sled because the thing weighed a fucking ton.
Oh, yeah?
And unless it was seriously modded out, would never be able to do the things that it can do in this movie.
Yeah, okay.
Like that power slide. Like it's so fast and it moves so agile.
We're going to see it fly later.
Yeah, and like it couldn't do those. Anyway, but the car is fucking badass.
Yeah, it was sweet.
Out steps Stallone. I always hesitate to call him Cobra because I feel like it's Sylvester Stallone playing the version of himself that he wished that he could be, which is a mess. That could kill people with impunity.
He wrote his own fantasy role for himself.
It is white male rage personified. It is motorcycle boots, black cuffed up jack. I think it's denim, unbuttoned Henley down to the almost to his navel, but no, seriously, right to the breastbone. Deeper. Mirror aviators, driving gloves, pistol tucked into the front of his pants. No holster for this guy.
No. And right on top of his dick and balls.
He doesn't have a toothpick in his mouth. He has a matchstick.
Right?
Is it more utilitarian? What? Why?
Well, he'll need it in the third act.
You never. I guess it's like he has an oral fixation.
Yeah, he doesn't smoke.
No, and I guess it's just he's in his mind. He's like, you never know when you're going to need a match. One single match.
I just imagine that gun is just cocked all the time as well, just like pointed directly
and it smells like his dick.
Dick sweat.
Dick sweat on it. So Cobra is met outside by his partner Gonzalez, who looks like he wandered onto the wrong set.
No, I felt like Gonzalez had a cool ass look.
He had a cool look, but he looks like he's like should be in Newsies or something.
That hat?
Yeah, I wear that. I wear that page boy hat, but it's like. Standing next to Stallone is like, the fuck is this dichotomy?
I read that Stallone had described Cobra as like his idea was if Bruce Springsteen had a gun, which I guess Bruce was like also the epitome of cool and in 85, right?
But
or
to
86.
me, this reads if Stallone had a gun, which he most assuredly did at all times.
I feel like this was Stallone at his coolest looking.
Yeah, I don't know.
That look on the poster.
Lincoln Hawk was the poster is something that I remember seeing in the Visitech, the Jasper, Georgia video store.
Yeah,
I remember seeing the poster and seeing him like hold the gun and
with
like
the mirror with the glasses.
Yeah, the glasses and like this little like wisp of smoke, but that it looked like flames or something coming out of the tip of the gun.
The hairline was still hanging in there
before he started fucking with it.
Yeah, it was like I feel like this was he had peaked.
Yeah, this was peak Stallone looking badass. So they go to meet Monty for a debrief, and Monty immediately says, "I don't approve of you being here." Like no non sequitur. I don't approve of you being here.
Every cop movie has this guy though.
It's like LOL.
The tight ass boss who doesn't approve of the hero's methods.
Message delivered, my guy.
The most impressive thing in these shots to me was like, how are they managing to hide the reflection of the crew and the camera in Stallone's glasses?
The DP is killing it.
I was pausing my disc, like going frame by frame, and I could not see it. So that was some good work.
Yeah, they had it set up nice. Inside, the gunman is rounding up the hostages. Meanwhile, Cobra walks right through the front door. He does not remove his sunglasses.
There's nothing at all sneaky about anything that he does here.
Like, why? He just bold as day walk right through the front door. So
he's like dramatically creeping.
Well, again, and we're gonna get what? Yeah, he like immediately shushes a hostage cowering on the floor. He spots the gunman on a security monitor, and I can't for the life of me figure out the layout of this store. Like, why is there a security monitor right there next to the fucking front door?
Yeah, I guess that was like maybe that's. There wasn't a proper security. Maybe just the manager or the floor manager hangs out.
Yeah, but that's not like I guess it sort of is. Maybe it is sort of right next to it, so that they have a bird's eye view. It was like
at the customer service desk. Or something.
in the Ingalls store in Ellijay, the customer service thing is sort of elevated and right there next to the front door. So maybe that's sort of what it is. But I mean, he had but to turn his head and see a monitor, and there's the guy. So. Cobra starts sneaking around following the sound of the gunman's threats, and I'm like, this is Stallone sneaking around like he thinks a person who sneaks around does. Like, he's like, what?
A person who's high on cocaine's idea of sneaking.
It is like, as we talk about so often, it's like someone that didn't bother. We're too far along in the process to bother with some police training.
I think you always say that this is how Stallone thinks a human would do this.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
This is how Stallone thinks a human would sneak.
He's like, it defies all logic that
he's
not
be crouching
like
behind any displays. He's just walking through.
He's just
looking around.
Dramatically looking around, mildly bent at the waist and knees, and it looks more like a Bob Fosse dance routine than it does a cop. So we see that the gunman has corralled 4 hostages and is simultaneously telling them to shut up and for the guy among them to stop touching the women. Like, dude's like, get together, but don't touch the ladies. Like, dude's crazy. So then we see Cobra sneak up through the liquor section.
Yeah.
He slides a single champagne bottle aside to get a better look. Then, with the gunman looking straight in his direction, he makes a sprint across the aisle to a different vantage and immediately gets spotted. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
No effort to hide.
He's like, he's looking at me. Better run now. The gunman shoots in his direction but misses. Then the guy says he's going to kill all the hostages. It's the way of the new world. He then says he's got a bomb and asks where the TV cameras are that he asked for. Cobra has taken refuge next to a massive sales display for Pepsi and Coors. Next to each other.
This is where the product placement starts to get out of control.
It defies all logic.
This and Over the Top are the most egregious product placement I've ever seen in movies. But yeah, why is the Pepsi and the Coors there side by side?
Next to each other. And I love that he snags what is a room temperature can of Coors. A tall boy takes a long swig, tosses the can out to get the attention of the gunman.
He knows just where you are.
Yeah.
Right?
The gunman knows where you're at. The gunman shows pinpoint accuracy and shoots the can. and then shoots up the Pepsi display.
How did he miss Stallone earlier?
Doesn't make any sense. So Cobra slides down the frozen food aisle where customers have left the freezer doors open, which creates a very, again, like artsy mist in the aisle.
It looked awesome.
Why have the hostages not run away?
Why did they all just collectively decide to leave the freezer doors open?
Why is the guy in the wheelchair hiding his face like a child? Like if I can't see him, he can't see me. So the gunman rattles on about all the hostages being trash who deserve to die, which I'm like, what? Cobra continues to sneak around, kind of sliding past several more displays for Pepsi. Before
there was Pepsi shit everywhere.
Yes.
He went by like 5 different Pepsi displays.
Before finding a random PA mic on, like, situated on a podium or something in the store, he picks it up and says, "Hey, dirtbag, you're a lousy shot. I don't like lousy shots. You wasted the kid for nothing. Now I think it's time to waste you." And we should mention that he's, like, in some serious, like, red exit sign lighting. Like, the lighting is excellent.
We're getting our first taste of what Cobra is all about.
Yeah.
He is here to kill this man.
That's what I was saying. Like, the guy, the hostage taker seems to be an okay shot when it's an inanimate object that he's trying to hit. But he's like looking around all paranoid and crazy eyed.
Well, I think it's weird to move for Cobra to be like antagonizing the man who's got a bunch of hostages right in front of him.
Cobra doesn't care.
Really doesn't.
Yeah, it's like, we're starting to immediately seeing a glimpse of him being just like, what's happening? So he somehow has made it into the walk-in freezer.
Is there 2 doors to this thing?
There can't be.
No chance.
Well, no chance.
No chance.
Unless he left the store and there's another entrance like from the loading dock. Maybe that makes sense. There's
but
a loading
he
dock.
got outside.
But he would have had to have left the store. He would have to have left the store and come back in through. So anyway, he pops out of the freezer.
Why is there a light back there that has the brightness of 1,000 suns shining from inside the freezer?
So you can see the meat, my brother. So he pops out.
The mist and the backlighting.
He jumps out, gun drawn. Gunman repeats himself that he's got a bomb and says that he's going to kill this female hostage and then blow up the whole store. Cobra says, "Go ahead. I don't shop here."
I like that line. That one worked for me.
I was like, that was one of the only lines in this movie. Stallone.
Give a little credit where it's due.
Stallone wrote that. That was pretty funny.
But we do see, the guy's like holding, I guess, what looks like a small pipe bomb or something in his hand.
So there's a long stare down before Cobra continues. "Hey, just relax, amigo. You want to talk? We'll talk. I'm a sucker for good conversation."
If only we had a writer who could write a good conversation.
So he tucks his gun back into his balls. The gunman says that he just wants the TV crew brought in, please. Cobra says he can't do that, and the gunman wants to know why. And Cobra says, "I don't deal with psychos. I put them away." So the gunman says he's no psycho. He insists, "I'm no psycho."
He is begging this man to blow up his bomb.
Yeah. He says he's a hunter and a hero of the new world. So while the dude's rambling, we see Cobra secretly pulling a knife from his back pocket. There's no way that the gunman would have missed this or would have allowed him to put his hands behind him.
Do you think the gunman, is he like all doped up on something?
I think he's just crazy.
Out of his mind.
I think he's just crazy.
I don't know. It's possible, I suppose. But anyway.
I think a lot of these guys are just off their rockers. They're for whatever reason, they've reached a point where they crack, and that's like people commit suicide. They just reach that point, and there's no turning back. So then Cobra says, "You're a disease, and I'm the cure."
Another fucking cool tough guy line.
Yeah,
man.
very cool.
I feel like this is the coolest version of Stallone I think that we've ever seen. Even though the movie's awful, but the character is like, his swagger was just all the way up. I feel like he'd had a huge year in '85 with Rocky IV and Rambo 2.
He is more palatable in this movie than he is trying to play
the sensitive father,
or like the comedic suit that in Tango and Cash.
Oh yeah, Cash or Tango. He was Tango.
He's not. It's not possible for him to play like that role. It's just not him.
You just got to be a hard ass.
Yeah. So the gunman tries to turn the shotgun on Cobra, but Cobra flings the knife into the dude's chest and simultaneously draws his pistol. After a egregiously dubbed in "drop it," Drop it. Cobra blows the guy away into a cooler full of cheese, looks like.
Someone after the fact must have decided Cobra needed to give a warning before using, deadly force or whatever, because he absolutely did not say that line on the set that day. No. Drop it! They had to shoehorn it in. It was
big
like,
time.
Drop it!
So then he twirls his gun on his finger, a la RoboCop, and tucks it back into his pants, and we get another extreme close-up of the grip. Oh, that's the guy from the opening. It's Cobra. See?
It would have been amazing. The gun just needs to go off one of those times. He sticks in there.
Blows his dick off.
RoboCop style.
Yeah, exactly. Cobra slowly walks over, removes the bomb from the dead man's hand, then helps a female hostage to her feet.
Yeah.
And all of that...
Because he's sensitive.
I guess. So he's not a cold-blooded killer. What you're saying to me is that he's conflicted, Kevin. That's all this reads to me. So anyway, outside, Cobra's mobbed by reporters as he exits the store.
Why do they let the reporters just crowd on the crime scene like that?
No, it doesn't happen in real life.
Stallone's like whipping his head around like he's like a circus animal that's being like irritated by all the noise and the flashing lights. He's like moments away from just opening fire.
Just killing everyone. So his partner Gonzalez, the newsie, tries to keep all the reporters at bay as Monty, the suit cop, attempts to answer all the questions. Monty says today's incident has nothing to do with, quote, the Night Slasher investigation.
A plot line we're completely unaware of.
Yeah, right. So, there would have needed to have been audio during the opening montage for that line to pay off at all.
How did this movie not open with a Night Slasher killing?
I don't know. So how would Monty know that? And why would he comment on it?
He has no knowledge of what this is. He couldn't. No one could.
Like if there's an open investigation, why would he immediately offer that information? That's like what police work 101, talking to the press 101. With no comment at this time.
He's just blabbing.
Yeah, it's like the fuck. I think it's probably because at this point they realized they were like, oh, we haven't mentioned the Night Slasher at this point. We haven't mentioned that there's a death cult or a killer.
And I feel like Monty's motivation could be like he wants to be a celebrity cop.
Yeah, it's probably true. Yeah.
Like I'll answer all your questions. Someone ask me a question, please.
It's like the OJ investigation years before. So a hostile reporter asks Cobra if it was necessary for the situation to end with the death of a gunman.
That dude was.
Did you use unnecessary deadly force? I used everything I had. That dude was given like this whiny delivery. Like, did he have to die? Yeah. Did he have to he's clearly a pinko, reporter or whatever. Yeah, the reporter continues saying that people have rights and cops aren't the judge and jury. Gonzalez trades barbs with the reporter about whether criminals should have any rights, and I think that the Constitution says that they should, so there's that. So Cobra takes matters into his own hands, grabs the reporter, whips the sheet off of the corpse of the guy that got shot, and says, "You tell that to his family." What a disrespect to the dignity of the victim here. Yeah, well, again, like none of these people has scruples. Cobra storms away as Monty's left to pick up the pieces with the press. Yeah, he's like, shit, I did. Fuck. So, nothing to see here. Yeah, we're all fine down here. How are you? It was one step short of the body like falling off the gurney or something. Right. Nothing to see here. So we cut to Venice Beach at sunset, and it's beautiful. Of course. With some cheesy music playing, and that's Suave by Miami Sound Machine. Oh, Gloria Estefan. Which is a band I've never been partial to, but whatever. It's an odd choice in the movie. But we're not in Miami, one couldn't help but notice. All of these Stallone movies from this era are filled with this like soft pop music. Like all of them. It's odd. I think that's what he, as a man, like as I think that's he what as a human, I think he liked to listen to, and he'd load the soundtracks up. Probably a lot of Kenny Loggins and Gloria Estefan. Brought him down when he was on, like when he was just out of his mind, or when he was listening to it. Maybe he thought it fucked harder than it did because he was so he loved that easy listening shit. He loved yacht rock. He did. So this smooth music. This scene is the wackiest and really starts to, if you haven't gathered from the little snippets we've seen so far, it's like this is where we start to really pick up on the fact that Cobra's unhinged. He's got a personality disorder. So he pulls up to his apartment building, and and is none too pleased to find a crew of Latinx dudes in a lowrider lawfully parked in a spot that we guess they're just parked in a parallel parking space.
He feels
right there
entitled to that spot.
He honks the
horn.
horn.
They're in a sweet Chevy Impala.
Their car
is sweet.
He honks the horn and tells the guys to move it, and they're like, "Fuck you." So he uses his car to push the lowrider forward enough into the empty parking space directly in front of them so that he can park his car. And I guess maybe it's like, that is some bullshit, number one, but it's like he just didn't feel like backing up. He only wants to pull forward. He doesn't want to back into a parking space.
I feel like we're supposed to gather that the lowrider was like taking 2 spots up, but it wasn't.
He didn't.
He pushed the car forward like 20 feet.
Yeah, there's going to be damage to somebody's bumper.
And we know Cobra adores this car, apparently, right? Like, why would he do this? It's just an odd move.
He's insane. So, yeah. So the dude, the Latinx guy, the leader of this little merry band, gets out to inspect his bumper, slaps the hood of Cobra's car, and is like asking what his fucking problem is.
Which justified.
Yeah, it's like, yeah,
what the fuck
absolutely.
are you doing, dude?
Cobra gets out of his car, and the dude's ready to like square off. Cobra tells him, the dude's smoking, we should mention too. Cobra's like, that's bad for your health.
I think it might have been a joint. I'm not sure,
yeah.
but
he's like, what's bad for my health? And Cobra says, me. He grabs the whole bottom portion of the guy's face, which is the weirdest flex I have ever seen.
You have that thing about face
grabs
touching.
The whole bottom part of this guy's face, including the cigarette or joint, and like pulls it away, like grabbing the cigarette or the joint out of his mouth, the blunt, and drops it on the ground.
I feel like Stallone, the screenwriter, seemed obsessed with making Cobra like the coolest, toughest dude on earth.
Well, I'm telling you,
he's strong-arming this man for no reason.
Yeah.
It feels borderline racist.
That's what I'm saying, is that like white America sees this and they're like, that's exactly how Latinos should be treated. Because
they're in my parking spot.
They are taking our jobs. That's exactly what this is. So this is the most alpha move this is an alpha move that someone who wishes that they were an alpha writes into a movie. But the guy seems genuinely scared, which is also Stallone, right? It's like, seems genuinely put off by all this. Cobra tells him to clean up his act. He rips the guy's shirt and just walks off. That's
multiple crimes that Cobra just committed. I feel like he assaulted this dude. He did a little hit and run.
Yeah. Destruction of property. The guy
abusing his authority.
Yeah. The guy shouts some parting shots in Spanish. Expletives, we gather at Cobra.
I heard a little fuck your mother.
Yeah, fuck your mother
in there.
His friends all seem to be very supportive of him, though, which I appreciate. That they're like, yeah, man.
What's the fucking? We just witnessed a hate crime.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what the hell? So Cobra, as Cobra's walking into his building, he's reading the LA Times or some shit.
Yeah. Because he's sophisticated.
He's checking out. He's seeing if there are any columns about tango. his alter ego.
How many millions?
How many millions? You tango in and you waltz out again. So he's reading the newspaper. He's walking up to his apartment. Then, in maybe the weirdest movie moment of all time,
until 30 seconds from now,
he inexplicably lifts the lid off of a charcoal Weber grill that you can buy for $49.99 at your local Ace Hardware, slaps the newspaper on the grill and covers it back up.
Whose grill was that?
What the fuck is happening? Like, what is happening? What the fuck?
This is where the paper goes.
Like, is it something that never got paid off later that he was like,
you know what?
Does he use it as kindling? Does he use the paper to light the grill?
I just had a vision.
Okay.
They filmed the shit of him inside without a newspaper walking in first. And then he's got to get rid of that newspaper.
Good call.
He's got to do something with that newspaper.
Put it on the grill?
Stick it on the grill.
Stallone. They probably said, Sly, what would you do?
What would Cobra do?
Put it on the grill.
Put it on the grill.
Because he's maybe Stallone knew more than we're giving him credit for. Maybe Stallone knew this guy was like, had borderline personality disorder. So anyway, he enters his sweet-ass apartment. We can't quite tell that it's sweet yet, but what we do see in the opening shot of him like entering the apartment is he's got a big piece of plexiglass stood up next to a desk that looks like some beautiful mine shit is happening on it with like maps and photos of suspects. Next to the door, right next to the door on a little table, there's a football trophy.
Yeah.
It looks like like a Heisman ripoff or something.
He's an amateur astronomer.
We see in the background far off that he is either looking at the stars. The Stallone's like, well, he's sophisticated.
That's my mind. He's like, because Cobra's smart. He's a smart guy.
Or he is looking at women like undress.
Or he's just
more likely.
He's looking for possible criminals to kill.
Or he's just looking at the back wall of the building across the street just because he's insane.
I just imagine Stallone being like, no, he's a smart guy. He's a modern-day Galileo.
Constellations and shit. So he tosses his keys on the counter, goes straight to the freezer, and retrieves a pizza box and an egg carton.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the pizza box, he opens it, and it contains one slice of pizza.
From the freezer.
He grabs a massive pair of... they're shears. They're like shears. And like, I'm all for like having eaten pizza with other people. You take a big slice and you cut the slice in half, bottom to top or top to bottom to form another slice. He, like a psychopath, cuts it in half and makes a smaller piece of pizza.
A small triangle.
A crustless piece of pizza. A small triangle
Maybe
of pizza.
He doesn't like the crusts.
And just tosses doesn't even close the box, just like lowers the lid and tosses the box over.
He cut the shit with scissors.
I want to also talk about how he is still wearing sunglasses in his driving gloves as well. He then opens the egg carton, which contains the equipment that he uses to clean his pistol.
Sure, you got to keep that in the freezer too, I guess.
His apartment has a sweet-ass view of the coast, though.
The pizza was not frozen.
No, the pizza was warm.
Thank God.
Like room temperature.
Or it could have been cold, but it wasn't icy.
Like, what does like what would a freezer do to your gun oil? Maybe has it turned all the way down to save on electricity?
That's what I'm thinking. Or his shit's just on the fritz and it's not quite cold, but like...
Or he's crazy and doesn't know where anything goes.
That's all the proof I need to know this dude's fucking insane.
Yeah, he is batshit crazy. Just the way that he cut the pizza alone is like, what? Like, Stallone made that choice. He's like, no, he cuts it like this.
He's 1/4 of a slice of pizza a day.
I wonder if he read in some like mob affidavits or something about some crazy dude that was like, yeah, man, the dude was crazy. Cut the bottom tip of the pizza off and ate it.
Have you ever cut pizza with scissors before?
No.
I feel like I've seen someone do that because they didn't have a pizza cutter, and I'm like, fucking scissors? Do you not even have a knife?
Yeah, just tear it and just eyeball it. Just do your best.
Just roll it up and eat it.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, apartment has a sweet ass view.
Dude, it also had like what appeared to be a video editing system like on his desk. There was like two monitors and it looked like an old
for falsifying video evidence
for rig and some primitive tools. There was like an awl and this like weird like two-handed saw.
I wish there'd been an astrolabe or something. Like it would have just complete the picture of just him being insane.
A septant.
Yeah.
Is that what you used to like?
Sextant.
A sextant.
Yes.
He had a sextant there.
So he flips on the TV, and we get a classic Toys R Us holiday commercial.
Dude, that was some nostalgic shit. I remember that jingle.
I read recently that they're getting ready to open dozens of Toys R Us toys.
Brick and mortar toy stores again?
Yeah.
They're back, baby.
Yeah.
I love that.
COVID's been good for the toy industry, I guess. We got to get the kids out of their homes. So while he goes to work cleaning his pistol with his frozen gun machinery, a news report cuts in. We hear that the night slasher has killed a 16th victim in just over a month.
That's a fucking murder spree.
Yeah, that's like...
Even like serial killers would kill like 2 people a year.
Yeah,
know?
Yeah. So yeah, the reporter says he struck for the... And they say he... Okay. Uh-huh. So he's struck for the 16th time in just over a month's time, which good writing, Stallone. 16th time in just over a month's time. Boo. The report apparently gets Cobra's attention because he finally takes his sunglasses off.
What?
Huh?
He struck again?
The report goes on to tell us that the latest victim was, quote, mutilated with a sharp instrument.
All right.
We also learn that there's no common thread among the victims. The night slasher preys upon anyone. Victims have included businessmen, Asian immigrants, the elderly, and, in one case, a sexually assaulted child.
The fuck?
What? Why was that? That's just to show you how depraved this killer is. The reporter says the city's in a panic. No one has a clue as to the killer's identity. She also says the killer's been crawling through windows, cut telephone wires, kills victims in their sleep, and that the victims have been killed with silent instruments such as hammers, knives, axes, etc. I would say that all of these, like, these are the common threads.
Yeah, but I guess all they're saying is that there's no, like,
it's just it's pinballing around.
The victim could be anyone.
Right. Cobra twirls his gun and looks contemplatively out the window. But we don't really see it. What we see we see the reflection in the TV screen of him, like, looking out the window. It's like a very artsy shot, and it's like, what?
It is weird, man.
And that's the end of the first act of this movie.
You gotta love a well-timed movie newscast exposition.
Yeah, I am a big fan.
Here we are, 20% of the way through the movie already, and this is like the first hint of a plot.
Yeah.
That shit's crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of like the scene in RoboCop where he walks into the convenience store and it's like we just sort of see what a badass he is at taking care of business.
Yeah.
And then, but it's like, what is happening in this? What is happening in this movie?
I'm excited to see what happens next.
I am too. I'm excited to talk about it. I'm going to need more bourbon first.
Do it. Pour it out.
In the meantime,
we'll be back.